Okay, the recording has started, and well, welcome again to the webinar on the challenges of small and medium-sized municipalities in climate change adaptation. Well, climate change adaptation is a big issue in many cities by now, and many research activities or research projects, however, focus especially on large cities. However, small and medium-sized municipalities are equally affected by climate change, but they may have very specific and different challenges. I myself am from a small village, and I see that in my municipality there are less people that have knowledge about all the different aspects, but they still have to do a lot on climate adaptation. So solutions that can be successful for larger cities are not necessarily transferable to small and medium-sized municipalities. A special attention is needed for climate change adaptation in small and medium-sized municipalities. This webinar aims to provide a forum to discuss these challenges of climate change adaptation and possible solutions for these small and medium-sized municipalities. First, we will listen to 3 speakers that will look at the challenges from different angles. In between, there is time for a few questions. But as I said already, you can ask your questions already during the presentations through the chat. And well, the first speaker is Inga Alexeyeva. First, the presentation would be given by Jana Putnina. She is the head of the project unit at the Development and Planning Department in Valka municipality. However, she's not able to do it, so Inga is taking over. She's project manager at the same department, and her main duties are development of different types of projects, including water management. Inga, the floor is yours. You can share your presentation. You're still muted, Inga. Yes.
Hello.
Good afternoon. Can you share your presentation?
Yes.
Yes, we see it. Yes, and on full screen, please. Yes, we can see it. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I will tell about our municipality, what kind of climate change we have, and that, okay. We are Latvian Estonian border town. Our twin city is Valka in Estonia. Our population in Valka municipality are 9,681, and our area is 906.8 square kilometers. So you can see where we are. About climate change risks of Valka municipality, the most important thing which we think we have are healthcare and public health sector. So it means we have a chronic diseases flare and increase in death rate and acquired endemic state and or increase in diseases caused by insect-borne infections. About construction and infrastructure planning sector, increased storm caused rooftop damage, electrical transmission network damage due to wind gas, and road damage risk due to flooding and flood risk caused by heavy rainfalls. These points are which we have in our climate adaptation strategy. in the live local adapt project, we develop a Valka County strategy for climate change adaptation, and this strategy is accepted by Valka Municipality Council, and it is published in our municipality homepage. So, yeah. About challenges, we have not really, we don't have a data about municipality, about climate change. We have only about region, like we are in Latvia, we have 4 regions, and we are in this Vidzeme region. So this data is all about this region. So we in this in our strategy we made this. We take this data from Vidzeme and look what is in Valka. What else? We have a limited financial resources. So if we want to do something, we are partners like in projects or something like that, because we don't have a special budget for that, because we are a small municipality. And the other problem is we have a limited personal resources. Like in Valka municipality, we are a development and planning department, and we are project unit and territory planning unit. So we are 8 people in this department, and from a project unit we work with this life project. So we will do everything which is about climate changes, how to make strategy, but we can't do it by ourselves. So we take persons who can do it from bigger cities and help us to make, like example, this strategy. What is about other things that I think in a small municipality we have a lack of awareness. People don't have so many knowledge about climate change issues. We try to inform, to tell, but yeah, the information is a little bit like limited, because people in small cities, we don't have maybe so much other problems like in bigger cities. And what else is confined administration capacities with less special departments. That means insufficient expert knowledge on climate change, what I thought, and lack of identification of threats at local level, and lack of personal and financial capacities to additionally integrate climate change adaptation into their administrative practice and implement necessary measures. Yeah, this is, I think, the most important challenges what we see in our daily life in small municipality, and yeah, like we don't have a environmental department, but we have a good cooperation with different people from bigger cities or other states, and we are one of the first city which was Mayor's Adapt. We signed Mayor's Adapt and make this adaptive strategy. We were the first one in Latvia, so it helps us to get more contacts and more specialists to understand what we need and what we should do. But yes, this financial, personal challenges we have still this time. So I think it will be, yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Inga. Are there any questions for Inga at the moment? No? And I will ask Majana to start up. And in the meantime, I do have a question for you, Inga. You mentioned different challenges. So the data availability, resources for persons, financial awareness, and lack of specific knowledge. Which one you would consider the most important challenge?
I think knowledge is.
Okay, specific knowledge.
Yeah, because yeah, I think this is the main important thing, that if we have this one, we can make other things and do it more better.
Okay, thank you. Well, I hope we come back to that point later on. The second speaker is Majana Heidenreich. She represents the Life Local Adapt project. She is hydrologist and research associate at the chair of meteorology at the Technical University of Dresden. She has been working and researching on topics such as regional climate change and climate adaptation for more than 10 years. Majana, you shared already the presentation. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to present the work of Life Local Adapt, finding solutions to improve climate resilience of small and medium-sized municipalities. Next. More than 30 years of climate research show that climate change poses a fundamental threat to our society and our well-being. Climate change impact cause high costs and threaten the municipal services of general interest. Despite national strategies, the final adaptation to climate change takes place mainly at the municipal level. We need to arrive at a level of understanding of administrative, legal, and financial situations of the municipalities, and all these municipalities have to be enabled to fulfill this task of climate change adaptation, big cities as well as smaller towns and villages. But how does the distribution of municipalities look like? In Europe, there are at least 800 cities with more than 50,000 inhabitants, but thousands of small and medium-sized municipalities. In Life Local Adapt, we have 3 project regions: Saxony in Germany, Styria in Austria, and the Northwest region in Czech Republic. There are 99% of all municipalities have less than 50,000 inhabitants, and 60 to 86% of the population live in these municipalities. You can see the distribution here in this figure. So most people live in municipalities with a size between 1,000 and 10,000 inhabitants, at least in Saxony and Styria. The situation looks different in Northwest Czechia, where really a lot of municipalities are very small. Why this is important? Because the structure of the local administration and the local authorities differ considerably with city and these small municipalities. Small and medium-sized municipalities find a limited awareness of climate change impacts. Climate change impacts are still less. They have not had so many negative experiences, and mostly these experiences are the motivation for adaptation measures. We see confined administration capacities without experts or specialized departments. We have a lack of personal and financial capacities, like Inga already told, and insufficient expert knowledge on climate change. to a lack of identification of threats at local level and a lack of strategic and planned action regarding climate change. That's why we had the idea to start a project to improve database information on climate change, the impacts, climate change adaptation, and to enhance knowledge of municipalities. To integrate climate change adaptation in administrative work of local authorities, and third, to implement specific measures of climate change adaptation in close cooperation with the municipalities. And our focus was set on small and medium-sized municipalities, which mean with inhabitants small, not more than 50,000 inhabitants, more or less. The result was the project Live Local Adapt, which means integration of climate change into the work of local authorities. We are financed LIFE program of the European Union, and we started in July 2016. We will end next year, and the project joins regions and the municipality Valka. We are 6 partners. The coordinating beneficiary is the Technische Universität Dresden with the chair of meteorology and the European Project Center. And we have 5 more associated beneficiaries: the Climate Service Center Germany in Hamburg, the provincial in Austria, the Saxon State Agency for Environment, Agriculture and Geology in Dresden, in Saxony too, the Global Change Research Institute in Czech Republic, and Valka Municipality Council. I would like to give you a short insight in our work. To address the problems outlined, we developed following solutions and products. Consulting, we have climate coaches. We can support municipalities financially in form of contests or directly, for instance, in Austria. We made material like fact sheets. We organized workshops and meetings with the municipalities. We developed and enhanced climate information systems like RECIS, the Regional Climate Information System of Saxony, Thuringia, and Saxonia-Anhalt, and Czech Adapt. And we use, we have a lot of best practice examples. Now, in more details, some information, for instance, about the Climate Information System, RECIS, I already told. It's a regional climate information system, an interactive tool to provide climate data and information about climate change and climate change adaptation. This platform is financed by and also for the 3 federal states, Saxonia, Thuringia, and Saxony-Anhalt. Is implemented by the Universität Dresden. In Live Local Adapt, we extended this tool. We now have, it's for Saxony, and there all municipalities of Saxony find for their administrative region, for their municipality, information about climate change fact sheets, and also information about the challenges of climate change, measures for climate change adaptation, information, help, and funding opportunities. Next example is the information material, or fact sheets. They contain measures, recommendations for climate change adaptations. The topics are heavy rain, heat stress, erosion, health, green infrastructure, and also information about funding opportunities. They are in German, English, and Czech, was that they are short and easy to understand, and work as a starting point for adaptation. We had in Saxony the contest for municipal climate adaptation. It is like a financial support for non-investment measures in Saxony. In this map you see all the participants of the two contests in 2017 and 2019. We have small municipalities. These are the green ones, but we have also two districts, the blue areas, and one leader region. Workshops and consulting, also a big part of our work. Up to now, we organized 47 workshops and 50 meetings with municipalities for improvement of municipal knowledge transfer on climate change and climate change adaptation, and for the development of adaptation strategies and plans, mainly in Czech Republic. Best practice examples are promoted by the project and serve as examples for other municipalities. Here are two cities with their measures, but Düben, they develop an adaptation concept for green infrastructure, facade and roof greening. And in Zwickau, the city of Zwickau, there they develop a site-specific plant list with climate-resilient trees, species, and planning of irrigation options with rainwater. Where an insight in some examples in our work of Live Local Adapt. To conclude, I want to talk about our experiences of our work with small and medium-sized municipalities. We noticed that consulting and personal contact is very important. A single solution such as a web platform is not sufficient. We have to combine different offers and services. And very necessary is a permanent contact person in the municipalities. But we must say also engagement of the smaller municipalities is mainly triggered by real impacts, by extreme events. When they have experiences, when they made experiences with heat stress or erosion events. The support from Live Local Adapt is and was welcome. There are no costs for the municipalities, but climate change adaptation has still low priority. Often no distinction between climate protection is made, and measures with direct impact are preferred. This is a problem of short versus long term. And also climate change, which is a long-term and abstract problem, is often displaced by other concrete and current problems like unemployment, demographic change, or at the moment Corona, which is really a big impact also for our project. Recommendations of climate change adaptation are not binding, and there we need an improvement of a legal basis. And also the administrative structures in the regions and nations influence the form and the climate adaptation. Last but not least, information services and funding measures from national and European level do not fit to small, medium-sized municipalities sufficiently. Barriers are the language first, scale, complexity, and requirements. For instance, funding programs are often not used by small and medium-sized municipalities. I could give you a good overview of our work, and I look forward to a final discussion. Many thanks to my colleagues and for your attention.
Thank you very much, Majana. Are there any questions directly for Majana? No? There are a few questions for Inga, but I prefer to leave that to after the presentations. Vaselios, can you start up your presentation already? Then in the meantime, I do have one question for Majana. You said that there's less awareness in small municipalities on climate change because it has to do also with the exposure to extreme events. But I would expect that also in smaller municipalities, there can be enough exposure to extreme events, maybe even more because they may be closer to nature, see what is happening around them. But still, you think there's less awareness. Could you give a little bit more explanation?
Yes, a new project now, we make also interviews with small municipalities, and our experience is always that they don't think a lot about climate change. It's really not, for mostly, not a big problem. Only if they experience some real erosion events or heavy rain, then they start to deal with this topic. But yeah, there are exceptions, but yeah, in general, we have this experience that this is not a big topic still for this for these municipalities.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. I must say I see the same in my municipality, although the neighboring municipality has a lot more attention for climate change. And that may also be due to the type of people that are living over there as well. In the other municipality, there's the Wageningen University, and maybe more highly educated people who have attention for climate change.
Yes, sometimes there are some members of the municipalities or persons which are very engaged and interested in that topic, and then also the municipality is more active. Depends a lot of of persons also.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. We go to the third presentation from Vaselios Latinos. He is a representative of the Convenant of Majors, ICLEI, and he will tell something from his perspective. Vaselios, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. First of all, thanks a lot for the invitation. It was also very interesting to hear the previous two presentations, to see some of what I heard there is actually something that I wanted to discuss about the challenges. So it's actually and very interesting also to see the outcomes of the Life Local Adapt project, with which I've been in contact actually in the past in the European Urban Resilience Forum that ICLEI is organizing. Both in the work that we do in the Convenant, but also in the work with ICLEI, we always see that there are so many challenges that the cities are changing, and especially also like smaller, medium-sized and smaller municipalities, which range from difficulties in language and mismatched terminology, sometimes unrealistic, mismatched expectations, difficulty to engage stakeholders, also like there's always some power imbalance, also issues with intellectual property, lack of capacity, political commitment, time, resources, something that our speakers before also mentioned. Communication also sometimes becomes insufficient or non-transparent. Also, it's difficult to find funding. It's always a bit of a problem where to start and where to stop. Sometimes also like it seems that cities and municipalities are getting like a bit confused with all the different terminology that is coming up. At the beginning was sustainable cities, then became smart cities, then resilient cities. Everything is, there's a changing policy landscape always there, and it's difficult for the city sometimes to follow up to all the different programs and different activities. On the other hand, there's a lot of action on adaptation in cities around Europe. Also, I have chosen 3 examples from signatories of the Covenant of Mayors. Here you see an example of a coping approach, a coping and adaptation approach from the city of Paris against heat waves and using cooling measures. This is in the center of the city of Paris. Here we see like an example of an incremental measures, and you see like this piano key wires in the dams to increase dam safety by increasing the discharge capacity and also like reducing the flood risk and the infrastructure damage. This is the Malars Dam in the Netherlands, and in case of heavy rains. And here is also like an example of transformative adaptation. And this is the renaturalization of dunes in Almada to protect the coastline from tidal effects, but also from the sea level rise. The Covenant of Mayors comes here to support the cities in this nexus between adaptation and mitigation, and also like to create, on the one hand, a resilient, but also like a low carbon future. It's somehow like the Covenant, especially the European Covenant, empowers the cities and towns to take action on climate and energy action and to secure a better future for the citizens. There are 3 main objectives. On the one hand, the decarbonization, to accelerate the decarbonization. The second one is to improve the climate resilience, and the third one to alleviate energy poverty. The big goal is to reduce 40% the emissions in Europe, the CO2 emissions in Europe by 2030. And this, of course, what we try to do in the Covenant, we always try with the cities that we work with, we try to match the local objectives with the EU policy. Either this means the climate and energy policy or the involvement in the new EU adaptation strategy, but of course, as a ultimate goal, the alignment with the Paris Agreement and the 2030 agenda. I wouldn't want to go like into detail here. There's a lot of I can also share the presentation, of course, after with all of you. And it started in 2000. Now, since January 2017, the Covenant of Mayors has also gone global. You see, like there's offices around the world. And what we do in the Covenant, so there's 3 main steps following the signature for that each city in Europe can take part. There's the second step involves the submission of a sustainable energy and climate action plan. Then goes through like delivery of practical actions and implementation, monitoring and reporting. And then the third step includes the submission of a monitoring report. We support the signatories, of course, with guidance materials, with action plan templates and instructions. There's also like specifically on adaptation, and I believe that you have in the local adapt project, you've been, of course, aware of that. There's a dedicated online support tool for adaptation with 6 steps, the urban adaptation support tool. And also there's an interactive online interactive funding guide. You see here that you can choose between cities, between the signatories, between the countries, and to find actually to match what you need to do with like funding opportunities. Also, there's a resource library with a lot of resources, good practices, case studies, handbooks, and also like discussion forums. and help desks, which are also like quite used, let's say, by the cities and also quite used by smaller municipalities. There's general help desk, supporter, coordinated help desk, as we see here, but also specific ones on different countries. I just put some examples here from some of the signatories. Again, for example, the city here of Monsanto in Italy, which is a very small one, like you see here 3,300 inhabitants. It's a signatory since 2016, and it has done like a lot of effort in mitigation, mainly, not adaptation yet so much. The presentation is stuck. The city of Bratislava has done a lot on adaptation also. They have also encouraged all the households to help protect the city from pluvial flooding. And they have provided also like subsidies to do that. And the city of Brest has also like worked a lot on energy poverty, engaging with the citizens from deprived neighborhoods to promote solutions to energy poverty. And you can see here some facts and figures. It's quite impressive what they've done in the last 10 years. So what are the positives in general? It's true that there are like reference available. There's research and innovation also from projects, from Horizon projects, from LIFE, from different funding streams. There's platform solutions, standards. There are frameworks established and pilots implemented, and also like there's a community, let's say, established. There's city networks like many in Europe, like ICLEI, Climate Alliance, Eurocities, and other networks that they work and they support cities on that. There's initiatives and partnerships. And there's a lot of activities, let's say, happening also like lately, especially on this integration also between mitigation and adaptation, also like something quite interesting, and also something that before was a bit missing in the Covenant of Mayors. So it was more focusing on mitigation. Now there's more also like a angle on adaptation that is getting like more and more space. I have only a couple of slides left. There's the Covenant, of course, is also engaged in the new EU adaptation strategy, and which is set to be published in early 2021. And these are some of our suggestions for the new and more ambitious, let's say, EU adaptation strategy to improve. For example, like we need to improve the city's response options to pandemics and disasters, and to take care into like different sectors like infrastructure, health, social care, the leadership, collaboration in the economy. We need also to converge the agendas, the biodiversity, health, climate, resilience. All of these topics they are overlapping, and they need like to they cannot like really work if you look at them separately anymore. So we need also like better connected people, all these resilience networks beyond climate. We need to implement like this horizontal and vertical collaboration. Also, it's important to mainstream resilience. Either this involves planning or like budgeting, and to align the different cycles that exist on budget, planning, infrastructure development, mobilize resources, and in general to move on with this systemic transformation, let's say. Need to do, let's say, to understand this fact, to form impacts of resilience, also on lifestyle and land pressure, to set standards, to scale up good practices and solutions, to converge agendas, to try to engage in different funding schemes, and to try to combine, let's say, fundings, and also like to put some additional effort on multi-level governance and multi-dimensional collaboration. And again, important is like this COVID-19 now response needs to go hand in hand with climate action. And one also important thing here is that is now also like included in the new biodiversity strategy of the European Union, is also like to support the local Green Deals and to move from a resilient recovery to a sustainable transformation.
Yes, thank you very much, Vaselios. There's one question. Thomas Prunke asked, could you give some more explanation on the third goal, energy poverty?
Yes, this is also this is linked to, of course, to the building sector more. And this came up also like later in the process. Now the Covenant of Mayors, the European Covenant of Mayors, has also launched this energy poverty observatory, and since then it has become like one of the three pillars of the Covenant of Mayors vision for 2015, and not only to reduce, not only to improve the energy efficiency and to reduce the CO2 emissions, but also to ensure this universal access to secure, sustainable, and affordable energy, especially also in the building sector. So there is this observatory website, as I said, that gives a lot of it gives a discussion forum, indicators and data on energy poverty, and also includes a free membership scheme, which aims also at developing more networking and to spot in the different signatory members where are the issues and where the building sector or the infrastructure sector are like really lacking, and where there's many energy losses, and to try then through the Covenant and through this pillar to match these cities with the necessary funding.
Okay, thank you. I hope this answers your question, Thomas. There's another question. Small municipalities have expressed confusion for the new template of the CCAP under COEM. Sorry, I don't understand. I don't remember what it stands for. It's rigid and not friendly handling on the tool, and always in English. Can you give some reaction?
It's true. It's in English so far, and there are. I mean, I cannot promise, but there are definitely discussions about how to make it more, how to make it accessible in other languages. But there's always, I know that there's confusion, and I know that there's issues there, but what I can say is that there's always support, and definitely the signatories can ask for support, and the Covenant employs many people who are in different networks and also with different backgrounds in different languages. So myself, for example, I have worked on checkups in Greek cities. So I think that there is potentially, I don't know from what example from which city you have in mind, but there's definitely room for improvement, but also definitely efforts also to support.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe Rafael, you want to react to this or tell something about your experiences?
It's properly me who, thank you for your invitation to address the question. It's properly me who pose these questions, as long as my organization is regional coordinator of Covenant of Mayors in the Murcia region, and trying to implement this new CCAP methodology for the benefit of small and medium enterprise, municipalities. They have tackled and addressed some difficulties in providing data always in English language, and also in a template which is changing from time to time. They worked on a template, and a couple of months later, the template coming from the Covenant of Mayors was changing, so they need to react accordingly and to move to a new scenario. So from time to time, that provokes the confusion and losing interest and commitment from the municipalities. That's the intention of my question. Yes.
Okay. I was wondering, Vaselios, Convenant of Mayors is it mainly larger cities that are represented, or also many
No,
smaller
no.
ones?
No. Every city can join, and I'm not sure if I can give you the numbers now, but there's in any case, there's like cities of all sizes. The cities of all sizes, cities with like 2,000-3,000 people, to also bigger cities, of course, like Paris or London. And then there are Covenant national coordinators, then, which are national bodies, and could be like ministries or energy agencies that they look into the different countries at the country level. And then there's also Covenant territorial coordinators, which are decentralized authorities, such as regions, provinces, or local groups of local authorities, let's say. And so there's not everything is handled, of course, from the central office. So there's always like this decentralized approach.
Yeah.
But
okay. Yes.
no, but yeah, there's I can check the exact number of cities.
Okay, there's one more question for you,
Yeah.
and then I'd like to go back to the questions for Inga and for Majana first. But Stefan and Haver asked, having the small municipalities in mind, does the COM have specific instruments for them?
Yes, especially also like in the initial steps, the Covenant has also like these very detailed tools on how to do a baseline assessment, because usually the municipalities are starting the smaller municipalities, when they are starting to develop a sustainable energy and climate action plan. They need this initial help to collect the data and to perform a first assessment of what's happening in the city, in the municipality, what is the data they have available, what is missing, and then like do like different. Then there's different tools, of course. There, like for example, there's tools on risk, vulnerability analysis. Then there's and then you can go through the cycle, especially on adaptation. If you go like through the urban adaptation support tool, inside there you can find also like tools from different European projects and from different also sources.
Okay, thank you. Maybe we can go back to Inga. There were a few questions, but maybe first a reaction. Are you, as with your municipality, aware of the tools that are available through the Covenant of Majors? Do you use them?
Yeah, like for us, actually, a big, like huge information resource was this local adapt project, where we actually do the main things, and to us help environmental specialist. Elina Svikliņa from Valka, but now she lives in Netherlands. She made us this strategy for us. Yeah.
But
and she takes information from Latvian Environmental Geology and Meteorology Center. They have a homepage. So where is this information about Latvia? All Latvia.
Okay. Yeah. And you use the tools, or the tools from the Covenant of Majors were used, the website, or mainly the local information and what you received through the Live Local Adapt project?
I think it was made from Live Local Adapt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We go to the questions that were for you. The first one is, when seeking additional information, who do you usually talk to? Is it at the national level, partner municipalities, EU institutions, or even other organizations?
At the moment, actually, it's the same Live Local Adapt project, and TU Dresden, Majana and other help us. Yeah.
Well, you also talked about that you had contact with some neighboring municipalities. Is that, do I remember that correctly?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. And well, if people want to put on their camera, that is fine now. So if you want to do that, it's, let's see the next question. There was another one for you. Life Adapt project. There's something on counting on the municipality of Smiltene as a project partner. Has Valka interacted somehow with other Latvian municipalities? We more or less answered that question already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We haven't talked to Smiltene, yeah.
Okay.
But we know that they have that kind of project.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Would you think that would be of help, working together with other municipalities, small municipalities, or would it be better to work together with larger cities?
I think no, it could be fine to work with small and with bigger, because it's good when you have a bigger city which can you help, like for us help this Life Local project with Germany, Czech Republic, Austria, but in local level it could be good that we have neighbors with whom we can talk and get a new experience, and yeah, I could both could be good.
Yeah. And then would it be more interesting to have contact with municipalities from your own country or also Europe-wide, as in the Life Local Adapt project?
I think it is the same both, because only bigger partners they have more bigger problems, like our problems maybe looks like it's nothing for them, but it's a big problem for us. So in local level, to get the experience between other Latvian cities, we can maybe understand each other better than the biggest cities. I think so.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. There were also a few questions for Majana. One question is, which climate stressor is the most important or relatively most important for small and medium-sized municipalities? And some examples are mentioned. Drought, for example, may be more relevant as there is a lot of agriculture and forest around smaller cities, while heat is less relevant as smaller municipalities may be able to cool down better at night, or heavy rain may cause more problems in larger cities because there's more sealed surface. Can you?
Yes, when we started with our project in 2016, then rain was the most relevant topic, but it's also different. For instance, in Austria and Styria, also the heat problem because of their more south. There is a heat also a topic, but with the last let's say 3 years with this heat and drought, also these topics become more relevant. It's really it depends on the experiences which the municipalities made. First, the topic of heavy rain, the impacts of heavy rain were most relevant, but it's changing.
Okay, thank you. There was a reaction of Katarina Schrotz. He says, well, in the Life Local out Climateurope, we do not experience there's a lack of knowledge, no lack of awareness, and no need for guidance. There's especially an implementation deficit caused by lack of resources. Maybe you want to add something, Katarina?
Yeah, thank you. That's in the Life Rollout Climateurope project. We're working together with 7 regions in Germany and 1 region in the Netherlands. And this is what we have experienced so far, that there's not anymore a lack of knowledge and awareness. So the topic has arrived in the regions. And so now you need a region-specific adjustment of the knowledge, of the measures, and like to find a starting point, where to start, how to develop measures that are specific for our region. And yeah, that's what I wanted to add. And there's the lack of resources. So there are not enough financial and human resources. So it's very important to find synergies, for example, between the municipalities in the regions, for example, and yeah.
Okay. And do you experience that there is a difference in implementation between the larger and the smaller municipalities?
So our approach is to we combine the municipalities in one region. We work together with the smaller and the medium-sized municipalities in one region. So we have like the medium-sized municipalities like a promoter, because of course they have better resource situation than smaller municipalities. So we try to use them as a promoter for the implementation, and we try to work together with the small and the medium-sized municipalities.
Yeah, okay. Majana, do you want to react to that, or one of the other speakers?
Yes, I can imagine that there are really huge differences between regions. And yes, we have also municipalities which are very active in this in climate change adaptation, and they have knowledge and all this stuff. But we have contact also to a lot of municipalities. Yeah, they where climate change not as a topic, and they are not. They don't have information about their climate impacts, or what changes they can expect.
Okay.
So who will bandwidth?
Yeah. Okay. Jan-Hendrik Vlekke was also reacting or adding something to Katarina. So, request. Jan-Hendrik, do you want to add something?
Not that much, but I think very important is just to take the partners who has not that many information together with possible synergies or synergy partners for the future, to take them together to have a mutual learning. I think this is the most important, and I think a regional approach for this is also helpful, to have a mutual learning within the neighborhood of the municipalities, so close to the borders with this is, I think, the most important stuff. But very important is also to take some hurdles at the beginning. So starting at the same point, for example, with the partners, and then also taking the stakeholders within the process, and stakeholders in the regions, not just administrational process, also a stakeholder-based process. And then I think there could be a lot of a good result in the process. So this was what I like to add.
Okay, one of the speakers who wants to react to that? No? Could the information that you developed for the Covenant of Majors help with this? Also for stakeholder interaction?
Yes, in general, I think there's also like a question here. If also the Covenant can give, if a city, there's of course like some official steps to join the movement, let's say. So the local authorities need to undertake a specific process to get like the political commitment, also like to go through the city council and then join the Covenant. But of course, by joining, all the cities can get, on the one hand, enhanced cooperation and support, but then also they can get, aside from the development of the SECAPs, they can also get practical support, guidance materials and tools on specific topics. And in the case that they are also interested, for example, in more working with flooding prevention, or also when they want to have a bit more general support and stakeholder engagement, or in let's say getting the know-how on how to get started in working on adaptation, for example, they can do it. They don't have let's say that it started as a more narrow approach, and the more then the sustainable energy action plans before were the core of it, and they still are now the sustainable energy and climate actions, but now there's much more.
Okay. I see that Barbara Kustner is saying that a membership of the Covenant of Majors is rather unevenly distributed across Europe, much more in Southern Europe than in, for example, Central Europe.
Yeah.
Do you know why it is? And do you also see that, for example, in Southern Europe, there is more connection between different cities, municipalities that they help each other?
It's true. In Italy and Spain, there's a big load of members there, and also I think this also linked to the fact that also smaller cities are joining there, and there is the opportunity also to join as especially if neighboring small and medium-sized municipalities can join as a group, and they can create these networks. For example, there is a network of 8, I think, municipalities. I think they are also involved in another LIFE project in northern Italy. So yes, so basically I think that there's a bit, it works also a bit with the word of mouth, I guess, in Southern Europe, so especially Italy and Spain.
Okay, so there should be more communication or more announcement on this in also other parts of Europe, maybe.
Yes, it is, but there's always issues. There's always differences there also with mentalities and the way that cities work. For example, German cities, they are more interested in their national funding, then they don't care so much about the European funding. So it's always European funding comes as a second, and then they always value more national and regional funding. So there's always differences, let's say, from country to country.
Yeah, but maybe in Germany it's better arranged, so then European funding is additional, whereas maybe in other countries that's different.
Yeah, exactly, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see, there's another question to you, Vaselios. If a municipality is interested in solving only one problem, for example, heavy rain impacts, can it get help from the Covenant of Majors, especially for that?
Yes. As I said before, the municipality needs to do an official process to enter the covenant. But once they are in, so they need to get basically political commitment from the city council. And once this is done, there's of course a couple of forms there that they need to fill out and to go through this official, let's say, signature process. But then once they're done, they can get also specific targeted information and targeted guidance. Okay. These help desks that I mentioned in my presentation, they are there for this reason.
Yeah. Okay. There's a reaction from Hilpa Gregor from Finland. He says that they are trying to develop local adaptation support tools for municipalities. So it was useful for her, but she has to leave. So probably she's not there anymore. Otherwise, she can react. No, I don't hear her. So anyone else who wants to react what is presented already or ask a question? If Not, I do have a few more questions. I would like to hear from others what they consider the main problem for climate adaptation. Is it resources? Is it knowledge? Is it data? You can say it or put it in the chat. Would be interesting to see what people consider the most important issue or challenge at the moment. No one who wants to react? Okay. Do you have own experience? Is there anyone from a municipality, a small one or a big one? Oh, there's. Oh, I see that Inga is indicating that Valka municipality is also a member Convenant of Majors. Thank you, Inga. Is there anyone from a municipality who wants to share his or her experiences with climate adaptation?
I want to make a comment if possible, yes?
Yes, Rafael, yes.
Yeah,
sorry, I forgot you. Yeah.
It's concerning the availability of CCAPs.
Can you come get a little bit closer to
Yeah,
your computer?
It is my comment is concerning the ability of CCAPs, sustainable energy and climate action plans, which is sponsored by the Covenant of Mayors, and how this is important and crucial in order to not only to prove the accessibility of municipalities to European, national or regional funding, but also to express the commitment of the local municipalities in the objectives of the Covenant, in particular the 2030 objectives of the Mayors Adapt initiative, and how it's also very essential in the sense of proving the or correcting the democratic deficit of this procedure. When involving the local population of the small municipalities to this CCAP preparation, you are enabling the citizens to say something proactive and constructive to this scenario. So this is a very nice way to close the so political approach, and then to make this democratic accessibility duly enforced at very local level. So when preparing a CCAP and when approving a CCAP, citizens are a key success factor of activity. So this is one of the most critical issues for local municipalities to get profit of Covenant of Mayors and CCAP preparation, according to my view and according to my experience. And also the LIFE program has helped us very much in order to enable demonstrative tools and adoption of mitigation, but in particular adaptation tools for helping small and medium enterprises. Municipalities.
Okay, thank you.
Let's say that the development of a CCAP puts the commitment that the cities do to the next level. So it's reinforcing the commitment.
And Bernd Decker, you put something in the chat. Do you want to react? Maybe I can read out what he wrote down. He's pleased to see local authorities, multipliers and networks advancing on making small towns, cities more resilient to climate change. Are you directly involved, Bernd, with this? Okay, now then please put in your questions or ask them. And in the meantime, I do have another question. Are you also contacting what they call boundary organizations, are consultancy companies to provide information or help with the process of climate adaptation in your municipalities? Maybe one of the speakers can react to this.
Maybe I would leave it to someone from the municipality, maybe Inga.
Yeah. Inga, do you work especially with your own municipality, or do you also hire other people to help you with the adaptation process?
We are working like, do you mean how can we make all this adaptation changes, or in our municipality?
Yeah. You mentioned that well, one of the challenges is a lack of knowledge of the people. You're with the limited group, of course. But does that mean that you hire people from outside? That could be a consultancy company or other organization to help you?
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, we hire a consulting company from we have a procurement, and there was a person who won. So this was what with this company we worked, and this person made all these main points for our municipality. So after that, we do everything with Life Local Adapt program.
Yeah.
But we have a special from higher company or from higher level than we are.
Yeah. Okay. Majana, do you see what municipalities do? Do they hire a lot, or do they prefer to go to other municipalities or cities for help?
As far as I know, the majority of municipalities need help from external experts. They don't do all this planning not by their own, because of this lack of personnel and experts. Yeah, so they take part in projects or these contests, for instance, where we but even with the strategy for green infrastructure, so this is supported by our project and external experts, and normally it's goes like this.
Yeah. And do the others from the other LIFE projects have the same experience? Do they see the same?
Actually, we do experience that they need expertise from external persons, but we also experience that there is a increasing amount of municipalities who want to get their own people like trained as like internal consultants. So we are working together in the project with a training training institution. They are for a training institution for consultants from municipalities, and there's an increasing interest by the municipalities. So, yeah.
Okay, and what does the training focus on especially? Is it where to find the data, or is it more to help with the process of climate adaptation, for awareness raising?
I think in general, it's the whole process, like starting with how to find data, how to find the specific data, which is the right data for their municipality, for their how to use the data, and then it goes on with how to implement a process, how to bring all relevant stakeholders at one table, how to develop measures, how to get funding afterwards for the measures. So it's the whole process.
Okay. Uh-huh. Yeah. Is that also what others would need? Maybe Raphael, can you, I don't know if you're in the same project as Katarina, but do you see the same? There is a need for all the different aspects of the training?
To be perfectly honest, the municipalities, in particular those of small size, need very much to get access to testimonials, to proven experiences, which are taking the lead in the, let's say, closer context and environment. They, following that experiences, they are becoming followers of those who are taking the lead in the region. That's why we have make some international approach within this framework of the Life Adaptate project, also funded by Life program, putting the emphasis on how bilateral cooperation and also the exploring synergies between the Mediterranean access to climate change for municipalities in the Mediterranean and also in the Atlantic Portugal, Mediterranean Spain, Atlantic Portugal, and Latvia and Baltic is capable to get to prove good examples and provide good examples for the small municipalities to follow. We have developed so much activities in the course of this project, but once again, I stress how let's say a wider panorama granted by Life program and also by the Convenant of Mayors acting as a sort of umbrellas can help us very much in order to dynamize and disseminate good examples for the benefit of our local municipalities.
Mm-hmm. So that means you're focused more on making connections between different municipalities so they can learn from each other?
Yeah, we can provide good examples of other municipalities acting as, let's say, the drivers in our regions and also at the international context, and then to promote, to market, to advise our small municipalities to follow these examples and to get part of this large Life or Covenant of Mayors family.
Okay, thank you. I see that Bernd is saying that he's working from a laptop without a microphone, so he cannot react by saying something. I had another question. There are many things going on in Europe, and one of the things that I'm involved in a little bit more is the development of the Copernicus climate change services. Is that something that is useful for many different municipalities, also the smaller ones? Are you aware of all the tools that are developed over there where people can get data? Maybe the speakers, do they know what is available?
I'm not sure if all municipalities have, but definitely they are like really of this data available in Copernicus. For example, called Thessaloniki, they are using a lot of Copernicus data for monitoring air quality and for like in general for mapping the city.
Mm-hmm. Is this more useful than nationally available data? Or do
in Greece, for sure. Depending on the availability, I would say.
Yeah. Okay. Bernd has changed his device. Maybe you want to react, Bernd, to what has been discussed?
Yes, thanks. I can also switch on my
Camera, yes, welcome.
Yes. Well, the interesting discussion, and what I always discover is that we do a lot in terms of important issues, let's say bridging or breaking silos, trying to use the climate action aspect as a mechanism or vehicle to bridge between different competences, whether it's health, whether it's urban planning, whether it's urban transport, whether it's housing. And I think we have advanced quite a lot. And I mean, ICLEI is working since how many years? 30 years, 40 years on exactly this, breaking these kind of silos. And there is a lot of awareness, and I also agree with Katharina's comment that there is a lot of awareness out there in terms of that we have to do something. One aspect we always come back is the lack of data, and of course with smaller local authorities we have different challenges than, let's say, the usual suspects. The big towns like Copenhagen and Rotterdam and Barcelona, they have their own EU department, they have their climate office, they have the resources available, while the smaller towns, I mean, Inga, probably you agree that you have few people covering many different aspects in the local authority. I mean, the person dealing with waste management has also to deal with other aspects in the municipality, and there's little room and little time to find out what is relevant, what is now in. We get another task on our desk, which is now climate change. Who should deal with that now? And that, I think, is a big challenge for small local authorities. And I see, I mean, both projects, Local Adapt and Rollout Climate, to exactly go into I mean, address these needs and provide solutions for those local authorities in terms of coaching, in terms of support, consultancy, and so on. Then we have the back end, which I would call the back end, is actual actions. And I think we are still in these kind of discussions rather weak. Because I mean, I would like to see more really concrete actions. We mentioned green roof, something, by the way, we did the green roof, but we don't know anything about the green roof. What is the purpose? What problem is it solving? How was it designed that it doesn't die in the first year because it was too dry, or the maintenance was not done well, or that an experience was differently? So I would also be interested, I mean, also from the program perspective. And you know, in the LIFE program, we would like to target more on these implementation activities. What can actually be done in terms of mitigating effects from climate change? I don't know whether there are, I mean, I don't think there are now clear reactions now from the few local authorities. I mean, when I was a year ago in Dresden, I was quite impressed by the ideas of the small local authorities. I'm following the contest you have been doing, that they have clear ideas in mind. And this is, I think, where this kind of illustration is important to bring this more forward. What have local authorities done? I mean, and preferably innovative things. Is not just planting trees. Which tree, and what was the experience with this type of tree? So this is what I would like to hear more in those discussions, and that could also catch the interest of mayors from local authorities, small local authorities, and say, yeah, this is also what I also want to have.
You mean that you would like to have more monitoring of the implemented measures? Is that it, or?
Well, to show success of implemented measures, that these the measures which are being used and implemented actually help to increase the resilience of a city.
Okay, yeah. Uh-huh. Isn't that also more or less the best practices that were mentioned in some projects?
Yeah, yes, but I would like to stress it even a bit more to advertise with this kind of examples.
Mm-hmm. Does anyone want to react to this?
I may ask a question.
Yes, yes.
Okay, perfect. Also talking about measures, I'm wondering if or how different are measures, for example, concerning heat or heavy rain, compared to bigger cities. It relates to my first question, basically. For example, smaller cities might not be able to unseal, or they don't have to unseal ground because there is already quite a lot of unsealed ground. So how different are the measures? Because we have a lot of lists of different measures. Do we need other lists, especially for smaller and medium-sized municipalities, for example? Is it so different or is it not different?
Any reaction from the speakers or anyone else from one of the projects?
I think that's the measures are not so different compared to bigger cities. You have this a list of different things you can do, and yes, this unsealing is I think it's one small a small part you can do, but yes, this is not the main topic. You're right for the smaller cities, but in general, there's the same set of things you can do.
And just to say that the scale can be different, of course, but then the intensity or the severity of like climate hazards can be the same or even bigger. So, of course, the process, and I think that what's most important is that the smaller cities are getting into the game, let's say. So they start developing measures and start like working on adaptation, but and then they can be as prepared as or even more prepared than bigger cities.
Okay.
Thank you.
And Inga?
I can give a comment like for Valka municipality, we have more storm cost increases, but these storms are not like in bigger cities. This storm for small municipality is a big problem, and it increases like electrical damage, transmission networks. It due to the wind it increases. So maybe like this can be some kind of measure or something like that. Yeah. And like road damage is a problem for us, which caused to rainfall and or flooding.
Okay, thank you. I think we have almost come to the end, but I would like to give the words to Barbara Kustner, who poses a question. Maybe you can pose it yourself, Barbara.
Yes, I just thought coming back to this question in how far the municipalities are already aware of the problems of climate change impacts and so on. But I really think, well, from our experience, that the majority of the small municipalities is still not aware. And when you're speaking with a mayor, which are not present in a event like this, they are at home and they do not speak English and whatever in Germany in many cases. When you are asking about climate change, they say, oh, yes, we are doing something, but then they answer that they do something about energy savings or renewable energy and not aware of climate change adaptation or don't know that there could be a difference in how to approach this. So I think there must be more. Of course, the legal thing is one thing, but this is, of course, some pressure. The other thing what Majana mentioned is that they have their own experience, or the experience from a neighboring municipality with the flooding or whatever. And so, but for me, this is still not. We are still, I think, in a bit in a pool of those who know already. But it's difficult to really reach the ones who do not care so much. For instance, one of our partners, Majana, mentioned in Czech Republic, the mayor said climate change does not exist, and they dropped off. So when they changed there was first another mayor with a different political opinion, and the mayor changed, and so they left our project. This is still happening, and they should be aware of it. Though. That was maybe a more comment. Maybe some other would like to comment on this.
Yes. Anyone who wants to react?
Yeah, I would also to make a final comment about the interest of proposing networking and exchange of synergies between the different projects. I would like to the organizers of this meeting and the Good Local Adapt project enable the possibility to share knowledge of between different projects on the ground, and then I would be pleased to send to organizers leaflet and an expression of interest for this networking, as it is very much let's say mandatory and also envisageable from the live program in order to enrich the marketing and the networking activity of the project themselves. So I will be pleased to share with the organizers, with you, Janet, and the other panelists, our experience on the Life Adaptate project for the benefit of all the practitioners acting today in this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think that further networking, keeping contact, and it's very important because we all can learn a lot from each other, and also have contact with different groups working on different subjects. So I'd like to thank. I don't know if there's anyone who wants to add something at the moment. No? Okay. And I would like to thank the speakers, especially for this webinar, for their contribution, but I would also like to thank all the participants for their questions and participation. As I said, this webinar is recorded and it will be made available later on, together with the presentations on the Climateurope website. You will receive an email when the material is available on the website, so you don't have to check. If there are any remaining questions, I hope you know who to contact, and I hope that the exchange of ideas, experiences will continue. Thank you very much, and hope to see you again, and success with climate change adaptation in whatever type of municipality you live.
Great. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.